We're back in the park after 6 weeks and a half! I am pretty exhausted. Hello, we are getting to the end of almost 2 months, 8 weeks. This month has been crazy, probably as crazy as the first month. Like I feel like every single day you have a change when you're recovering from something like a hip surgery. So it's definitely been full of new things, unlocked skills, and definitely surprises that I was not expecting. Let's go over it so you can have an idea of what to expect in your 8 weeks, like from 4 to 8 weeks of your hip impingement and labrum repair surgery. So 4 weeks marked the end of my life in crutches, which was amazing. It was definitely great. I am very grateful for the crutches, for sure. It was the way that I could move around and I appreciate them a lot. At the same time, it was time to be set free, definitely. I, to this point, still have some pain in my wrists from the crutches, which is really interesting. There are some moves that I cannot do yet because my wrists are still a little bit upset. I'm very happy to go back to, being able to at least carry a glass of water, carry my food from the kitchen to the table, kind of ease me back to sort of like not normal life, but like life with a little bit more freedom. I started walking 10 minutes a day. It really took me a couple of days to decide that I wanted to leave the apartment and walk. It wasn't right away, especially the very first days. I would still go to the gym with one crutch if I was going by myself, because I was concerned that if something happens, at least I would have one of crutches to help me. It was a little bit of like a mental process as well to convince myself that my hip was doing well. I was definitely limping at the beginning. That is something that my physical therapist was really strict about. He asked me not to. So I worked a lot on that. And a couple of days after leaving the crutches, well, probably like a week after leaving the crutches, we went on our first walk with Nando, with my dog. Today is Nando's happiest day because we are going on a 10-minute walk. And he is very excited. First walk, so I am very excited as well. These are the little things. Hopefully this is the beginning of going back to a normal life. I started doing more of those tiny walks. I would definitely feel very exhausted after them. I remember once I did like 1,000 steps. It was 500 steps, 1 hour worth of a meeting, 500 steps, and I had to nap for 3 hours. It was ridiculous. Like I was this period of time, I think it can be summarized in hungry and tired at all times. Like I was so hungry and I was so tired. Tired in the sense that I needed to sleep. Tired in the sense that after walking 15 minutes, I felt like a car rolled on me. I felt like I had been walking for ages. Tired in the mental sense as well. Like there was a lot of thinking that I had to put on when I wanted to leave the house. That was a lot of stress as well. So I was constantly tired. Definitely after I started to recover a little bit of my mobility, the boring phase started. As my surgeon first saw, it was very boring. Like I felt like I could do stuff, but not really. I still felt really tired and just wanted to nap. So it was definitely very hard. By then, in the middle of that period of time, by week 6, I started thinking about how to do things by myself because I knew that my help was going to leave very soon. So I started practicing how to put my shoes on, my socks on, which is something that I am still struggling with to this point. The shoes are easier, the socks are still a little bit tricky. Week 6 hit and I was found by myself trying to survive and take care of the dog. Today starts my independence. Today I spread my wings to fly, and I am freaking out about it. It's very nerve-wracking to think that I'm going from 0 to 100, and I'm gonna have to go back to doing things by myself. I'm gonna go back to walking the dog. take him out for pee, cook, go get the car, go to the supermarket at some point, and it's nerve-wracking. It's really crazy, you know. This has been a very humbling experience because it has made me really see firsthand that we are all very vulnerable, and we need help sometimes. I am so grateful, and I feel very fortunate that I was able to have help to this point, because I know that other people have to start going back to their normal lives before this. I definitely did not feel ready, and I still don't feel ready, but now I have to do it. But yeah, you know, this is part of the process. At some point in the recovery of the surgery, I actually had to start going back to normal life, and today is the day for me, and we'll see how long it takes to go back to the swing of things. I definitely have a lot of limitations, and I think that's the main concern that I have, because I can't do everything 100% as I used to, and I'm still in recovery. But hopefully what I can do is good enough to make us survive. The good thing of week 6 was that I had my post-op appointment right after my help left. That 6-week appointment was basically clearing me to live something that I called a sedentary normal life, which basically means that I was cleared to go back to the grocery store, walking the dog, to cook and try to do some chores, potentially at some point go back to work and things like that. It was really good to have that feedback from the medical team when I was just starting to open my wings and fly away. It definitely gave me more confidence, and I was very happy about that. We're going back to normal life. We're going back to normal life. We're going back to normal life. Where are we? Where are we? PT was also going great. We changed the protocol. We started doing way crazier stuff. And I was very, very impressed with what I was able to do. Another thing that happened throughout this period of time was that I started feeling a lot of anxiety to leave the house. I was a little bit concerned about just leaving the house. To this point, I haven't really gone to dinner or anything, or any informal situations besides one celebration and one work lunch. There is this like fear or obstacle that I feel like I have. It just like makes me a little bit concerned about how my body's going to react. It's definitely been a little bit worrisome to know that now I am by myself and I have to go back to normal life, even though everybody has told me that I am ready. It's been baby steps towards that. Now at week 8, I feel better about it. It just has been a process, and I think it's important to validate your emotions and keep going little by little. We started ramping up our walk. There was a holiday in between, so I told myself by the end of this holiday I want to walk 40 minutes with the dog. By the end of the holiday we walked 35 minutes, which was still okay, you know, like I was celebrating my victories. 1 week later we walked an hour. Later that same day in the afternoon we walked for another 40 minutes, so that proved me that I was getting better and that I was able to do it. Back in the park after 6 weeks and a half! Where are we? Where are we? We're back at the park after so long. This is our walk that's not around the apartment, and our goal today is to do 35 to 40 minutes, and we'll see if that happens. We just made it back to the car. We did 35 minutes, a little bit over 3,000 steps, and I'm feeling good overall. Had a little bit of pain in my left foot. I feel like I'm overcompensating, and my hip was fine for the most part. I did feel a lot of work in my glute again, but now it's actually like pain. A little bit of pain in the hip, like every now and then it would feel like it would stretch too much. But overall, we did it. I'm very excited, I'm very happy. We met our goal and now we can go home. Very tired throughout the whole process. My legs were super heavy, very, very sore, feet, legs, everything. There are some instances in which I forget that I have limited range of motion, so I would like take a turn, leaving one leg behind, and that would open the hip and absolutely kill me. Like remind me right away that I am not supposed to do that because there is a very like strong pain inside. Something else that has happened starting week 6 was that I developed this kind of like feeling of something being stuck in the hip. It starts hurting really, really badly until I keep moving and moving and moving, and then there is a point where it usually pops and the pain goes away. So my physical therapist is not concerned about it. He said that when you are going back to more activity, sometimes these things happen. As long as the pain is not lingering, we're good. Bending more than 90 degrees is a challenge. Well, I would say that at this point I might be like probably closer, like probably 10 degrees more. But still, you know, like I do feel a little bit of like stiffness and a little bit of a pinchy sensation there. I'm not able to open my legs yet. Not really recommended to lift my leg like that because we're still trying to be careful with hip flexor. We want to avoid tendinitis. There are times in which like I just overdo it and it hurts. For the most part, I would say that in general, if I am very careful and thoughtful with what I do, the hip is fine. I also wore leggings for the first time, which was very, very, very exciting. If you wear leggings, you know what I mean. I started doing the elliptical, which was really, really exciting. This is week 6.5, and we are spicing things up. I started also eating more protein because I was exhausted and hungry all the time, which meant that I had to go back to the supermarket for the first time by myself. Just also a little bit of like scary situation, but everything went well. I have realized that most of these events that scare me a lot turn out to be okay. It gives you evidence that you shouldn't be worrying that much. However, there were also some unrealistic expectations that I had for myself. I had gone so far with physical therapy. I am walking the dog for an hour. I'm still standing for most of the time, which is something that I'm working on. It's been a little bit complicated to sit, just like mentally speaking. A little bit afraid of sitting. But yeah, everything has been going great, I would say, until I had to go back to the office. The time to go back to the office has come. It's been 6 weeks working remotely since the surgery, and today is the day. Today is the day. So hopefully everything goes well. Definitely mixed feelings, very nervous. My stomach is not doing great today. Just, you know, it's hard to trust that everything is gonna go well. I definitely hope that the hip is not gonna bother me, that I am not gonna have too many issues with the office setup. It's a big step. It's a very big step. Celebrating the fact that I'm going back to normal life, and this is part of it, and that I am capable of doing it. But definitely very nervous as well, because, you know, I'm getting out of my bubble. So we'll see. Fingers crossed. I am pretty exhausted. I'm pretty exhausted and my feet hurt and my right hamstring hurts. And I still have the adrenaline from being at the office. There is a lot of like psychological energy, I guess, that I spent besides standing and sitting and standing and sitting and then sitting for the most part and then standing because I couldn't stay sitting for the longest time. So I still feel like pretty recharged, but I'm sure that once I get home I'm gonna crash. But it's good. We're going back to normal. We're going back to the routine, normal life. A little bit of a taste of that. And that was really, really difficult because it was a 3-day kind of shift, going from 0 to 100, not really being able to have like a normal day in the office. This was more of someone coming to visit. So there were more meetings, there were more activities, there was a lot more going on. I moved from standing on 2 yoga mats to just flat floor that had no cushioning, almost not sitting, and that really, really, really hit me. By the second day that I had to go to the office, I was feeling really bad. I was weak, my stomach was super upset. I didn't eat throughout that day. I had headaches, I was feeling cold, my feet hurt, my leg hurt, and then at the end of the day, my hip also gave in. It was not good. I am still to this point working with my stomach to get it back to normal. And also realizing that I wasn't ready to go back to that. Maybe I was ready to go back to the office for 3 hours or 4, but not to go back to a 12-hour day. Lessons learned. I feel like all of us have overdone it at some point in our surgery, and this was my turn to learn. And I did learn. For the future, I will be more mindful. I will listen to my body. That's one of the main things that people have told me. I'm also not letting this make me feel disencouraged or frustrated because I still see a lot of progress every day. And I am very, very rigorous with my physical therapy exercises to the point that one day when we started doing the elliptical, my physical therapist said, okay, it would be great if you can do this like 2 or 3 times a week. Just keep in mind that if we do it here, then you don't need to do it at home. And I'm like, okay, so if I do it here, can I do the bike at home? And he's like, yeah, you can do that a couple of days a week. And I'm like, dude, I'm biking twice a day. And he looked at me and I was like, wow, that's what you guys told me to do. You know, like I've been following everything by the letter, which of course can also generate some problems down the road because you can overdo it. But I'm trying to be very disciplined. I really want to recover. So he looked at me and he was like, okay, if that's what you want, then it's really not gonna do anything to affect your recovery. It's actually gonna help with the cardiovascular activity and, you know, getting more stamina for when I go back to sports. But it was really funny because he wasn't really expecting me to like be doing all of this, even though they told me to do it. And that was kind of like the same with the surgeons team on week 6. They were like, oh, it would be great if you could do your physical therapy exercises at least 5 times a week, 4 times a week. And I'm like, what are you talking about? I'm doing them twice a day. So at that point, I am not doing them twice a day anymore because they are different exercises now. They are stronger on my body. Like they cannot be done twice a day. But at the beginning, when I had these other exercises, the sheet said 2 to 3 times a day. So that's what I've been doing. But it just has been very funny because I feel like there is some flexibility and they are like, oh, at least do the minimum because a lot of people don't follow the rules. Or at least in my case, I'm just trying to get better as soon as possible. I have some goals that I want to reach and I'm being very mindful with what I'm doing. So yeah, so these are the updates, a month of updates. There are more things around, but if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out. I am going through this process right now, so I have fresh memories and ideas. And thank you so much for being here and following the progress. And I hope that if I could say one thing that can help or give you some information that you're looking for, I hope that I could have done that with this or any other video. I will update you once we are in 12 weeks. Bye-bye.